We'll come back to you.
We'll come back to you. We're gonna go right back over to our very esteemed Reverend Dr. Emery Ailes. He is back online. Can you hear us, Dr.
Go right
Ailes? You're still on mute.
to
Oh my
our very
goodness.
esteemed Reverend Dr. Emery Ailes. He
Um,
is back online.
yes, good morning. Good morning. I am so sorry for the technical
Can you
glitch.
hear us, Dr. Ailes? You're still
Yes,
on mute.
yes.
To
Oh my
our
goodness.
very esteemed Reverend Dr. Emery Ailes. He is back online.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. I am so sorry for the technical
Can
glitch.
you hear us?
You hear me?
I don't know why we were getting the reverb. It was I kept hearing my voice over and over again.
But do you hear me now?
Yes, sir. It's
Yeah.
off. Go
Excellent,
ahead.
excellent, excellent. Good stuff. Yes, it is so good to be here on the precipice of a brand new year. I am thankful. I am thankful, first of all. I know we are out with the old, but I am thankful that God brought us all the way through 2025 with all of the challenges, with all of the ups and downs, with all of the family challenges that I've had. Uh, we're still here, and I don't want to take that for granted. And perhaps with all of the challenges that you all have faced this year, Reverend Frazier with your vision, Baba Asukili, with your health, Rabbi Becker, and everyone still here. I don't take that for granted. And so I thank God that we are still here, even though we're bundled up. All of us look like snowmen on today. We have our kufis on and our beanies and our scarves. I do too. We are still here, and that I am grateful for. But I'm also looking forward to doing a new thing. I thank God for the book that is out, the book of life that we came together. God allowed us to come together collectively amongst faith traditions, across faith traditions and backgrounds, to put together to compilate a document that is life worthy. And so I thank God for that, and I look forward to all that God has in store for us on the Lifeline here for 2026. Thank you so very much, Reverend Frazier, for calling on me. We have Mother Lucille who is on. Mother Lucille,
Yes,
Habari Ghani, Happy New Year.
Imani. Yes, same to you. I'm happy to be here today. Glad to be alive, to be in the land of the living.
Hey, yes, ma'am.
And I heard you use a word that came from one of my devotions this morning about this being um, a new thing, coming from Isaiah 43. See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. And that happened to have been our theme for when we had our Kairos weekend. So this is a new year, new things, and I'm glad to be here. So I'm glad to see all of you.
Amen. It is so good to see you on this morning, all of you this morning. Well, we want to shift right on into uh, our message on this morning. Our message on this morning is going to come from both. We have Baba Imani Asukili, and also the president of the African African American Heritage Society of East Pasco, Mukasa Theodore. Both of them are certified Kwanzaa leaders, and today, in the realm of Kwanzaa, it is the last day of Kwanzaa. The first day of the year is the last day of Kwanzaa, And there is a principle each day of Kwanzaa, last 7 days of the year. There's a principle that we observe that is observed. And today's principle is Imani, faith. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Baba Imani. Baba Imani, over to you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And Habari Gani.
Imani.
Imani.
Yeah, Habari Gani means what is the news in Kwanzaa. And so it is Imani. So we will use that quite a bit during the presentation. It won't be long. Also, I want to, just another term that we use quite a bit is Ashe. And it's spelled A-S-E, but it is pronounced A-S-H-A-Y, Ashe, which means you are granted the authority to make it happen or to usher in your desires and your prayers, to give life to them. So that's what it wanted to do. So Kwanzaa is a African-American, Pan-African holiday. So it's celebrated all over the globe. The enemy is attacked it, and they define it as a Black Christmas or anti-Christmas. They attack it and say it doesn't have God in it. But we'll take a little closer look through this principle, Imani, which is my first name and my new name, and just talk about what it means. And we say it means faith, but most of the time when people think of faith, they only think of faith through a biblical definition, and it can't be any other kind of way. And well, let's just take a look at the way the founder in 1966. So this is the 60th anniversary come December of this year, will be 60 years of celebration of Kwanzaa. So it still is in its infancy. You know what I'm saying? People expecting big things right away, and it just doesn't happen that way. Time has a way of moving on. To believe with all our hearts and all our people, all our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. So last night, I closed out the year at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church in Dade City for a watch night service, not a New Year service, but a watch night service. And it is historic that it was watch night because the enslaved people in December the 31st, 1862, they went to worship in church, waiting to hear a word. They went full of hope, hoping that change that Sam Cooke will talk about almost 100 years later, that a change is going to come. Was that change at hand? And that change would be the Emancipation Proclamation that would not free them, but would give them some relief. They still needed the 13th Amendment. They needed the 14th Amendment. They needed the 15th Amendment. They needed the 19th Amendment to get free. Then they needed the Brown versus Boards of Education. They needed the civil rights. They needed the voting right. They needed the housing right. But these people who set the tone at that time, who laid the foundation which we stands on today, and we have a responsibility to honor that. So let's just take a deeper look at this principle here this morning. So this is according to Dr. Karinga, who is the founder and one of our better philosophers. This is seventh principle. The seventh principle is Imani, faith, which is essentially a profound and enduring belief in and commitment to all that is of value to us as a family, community, people, and culture. Faith is put forth as the last principle, as unity is put forth as the first principle, for a definite reason. It is to indicate that without unity, we cannot begin our most important work, but without faith, we cannot sustain it. Unity brings us together and harness our strength, but faith in each other and the good, the right, the beautiful inspires and sustains the coming together and the commitment to take the work to its end. Faith in our people. So we have a hard time just having faith in a community. So he goes on to talk about faith in our community. Most of the time we want to spiritualize everything. If it doesn't fit into the prism of spirituality, then we have a problem with it. We have a tendency to discard it. And so many times we come together in celebration, and faith leaders come and ask us, where is God in this? They come and say, stand up and say that Kwanzaa is not a holiday. Well, that's a sad, sad individual. Who has the authority to define what is a holiday? And who taught you that foolishness? Was that taught to you by your oppressor? Your oppressor cannot be your teacher. The Queen Mother taught me one time, or shared with me in New York City, where she was from, in the public school system there. They had a lot of Jewish holidays, and they took those holidays off. They closed the schools. But the people were saying, we are closed all the time. We got to get rid of these Jewish holidays. So and they took the Jewish holidays off the calendar. But the Jewish community didn't come to work that day. They exercised their right to exercise their faith. So the school system got wise. They didn't have anybody to fill all of them slots. They put them holidays back on the calendar, and everybody celebrated those days. So having faith in your people that they would do the right thing. The civil rights movement, all of that was about unity and faith and togetherness and believing in one another to sustain a movement for 180 days. Broke the economy of Montgomery, Alabama, and the bus system that they had to break down and submit to those little Negro ladies and things and washerwomen and things who had gave up everything and sacrificed everything to build for their freedom. And freedom is very precious. Okay, faith in our struggle. That's an example of faith in our struggle. And just there's a couple of things I wanted to read here. Okay, and Dr. Karinga was talking about this faith as Fanon. Fanon was a psychiatrist. I think Senegal and Algeria, but he was from one of the islands, and he was dealing with the prisoners of this colonialism that was taking place. And, so he says, as Fanon say, we should not try to imitate others, but rather invent, innovate, reach inside ourselves and dare set afoot a new man and a new woman. The world and our people are waiting for something new, more beautiful and more beneficial from us than oppression has offered us. So the lifeline is an example of something more beautiful, more beneficial. It's different. You know what I'm saying? Some beautiful minds came together and said that, we can offer this good. We don't have to gorge people for their money and pass the collection plate and everything like that. We are open. We can maintain our own faith, but we can sit down with our Jewish brother. We can sit down with our Islamic brother. We can listen to our Buddhist priest. Well, there's room at the table for all, but we have to define for ourselves. And Mary McLeod Bethune always talked about, and she taught her students that you enter Bethune-Cookman College to learn, and you exit to serve. She never said that you exit to go get a job. You say, we aren't educating you to go get a job. We are educating you. When you get educated, you have all of the tools you need to sustain your life. But if you just go in there to get a job, you aren't going to be able to do much good for the community. And he continued, the world and our people are waiting for something new, more beautiful and beneficial from us than oppression has offered. We must then not imitate or be taught by our oppressor. You know, with the group here at African American Heritage Society, you know, people bring us Kwanzaa symbols and memorabilia. The first thing I do is check to see where it's made at. You know what I'm saying? So everybody that can capitalize on it, but don't have your best interests at heart. So, you know, my wife got some beautiful cards here this year. And I say, well, let's check and see where they were made at. They're made in Korea. You know what I'm saying? They don't have our best interests at heart, but they was capitalistically exploiting our culture. We cannot allow that and say, you know, I'd rather just hand make something and draw it than to fall for those kind of traps. Um, and they don't support you on anything else in your community. So there are seven principles, and Kwanzaa is one of them, and it means faith is one of the seven principles. The other one is Kuji Chakalir, which I mentioned a little bit, mean to define ourselves, name ourselves. You know what I'm saying? For some, we're not a monolithic group, but we aren't going to have certain people telling us who our leaders are and who we should not be listening to. We don't have that authority in nobody else's neighborhood. Ujima, we're always working in our organization, helping other organizations, showing them how to raise money. You know what I'm saying? We're doing promotional drives for them, introducing their mission to other audiences and things and of that nature. And then cooperative economics. You know what I'm saying? We try to support the businesses and things in our community. And it's no different than any other community that does that and don't allow anybody else to come in. And, you know, and the attackers come in and say we're teaching socialism. But other people come in our communities, open up shops, and they benefit from them together. We don't benefit from their shops and things like that. And that's where all of this come together with the 65 riot and Watts. You know, those are the things. So that was, and then yesterday we celebrated Nia, making a collective vocation, not an individual vocation, a collective vocation of bringing good into the world. Just we do it without thinking. We automatically is on that default type of system, and we work closely in the faith community. You know, I'm a deacon in a missionary Baptist church. I work with Dr. Els, you know, who is a Baptist minister. I work with ministerial organizations, more so in harmony with them than people who are actually ministers and things. I see all of the division with the ministers and things. They can't even get to first base because of theology. So, but this is the thing that is teaching us. And finally, we talked about Kuumba. And let me just read to you and I'll close out with the meaning of Kuumba. And because that principle is so closely tied together. Kuumba is creativity, but not the creativity that we normally think of, just making something, but this creativity here to do always as much as we can in the way that we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. We take that to heart at the African American Heritage Society of East Pasco County. We like to feel as though that we have created in a way to make everybody feel better. And most of our initiatives are being sustained. And as we come into the new year, we're going to turn our attention a little bit more towards the youth and some education, dealing with some horticulture type of issues with plants, some medical aspects of plant, teaching them 4 or 5 plants a year, and in 5 years you'd have taught them 25 and classifications and things and other that, and enhancing the art of the drumming and the African-centered dancing. So those are going to be some of our focus for 2026. I thank you all my brothers and sisters on the Lifeline. Hopefully that I have said something to enlighten you. And I called my daughter and said, "You gonna come and hear your dad this morning?" I called the president of the African American Heritage Society, Brother Theodore, and asked him to come on. And I called my good cousin, the Queen Mother, who is a regular frequent guest on, but sometimes she has to be reminded because she's a supporter of the Lifeline, but sometimes it doesn't supposed to be happening on the New Year's Day. It doesn't supposed to happen on Thanksgiving. It doesn't supposed to happen on Christmas. But she's here, and I'm grateful to each and every one of them. And hopefully at the end, if we have some time, maybe it can open the floor and some of them can add or ask questions.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Baba Asukili. I mean, if people can come off mic now and respond right now, but thank you for that presentation of not only just the principle of the day, but Kwanzaa as a whole, and clarifying some things that probably was not apparent as it relates to this African American celebration. I could not help but see the parallels of the struggle of coming up out of slavery for the African Americans as it was with the Hebrew slaves, and coming up out of Egypt, and yes, and being able to define for ourselves and do for ourselves and build for oneself. And you're absolutely right. Faith is not only a spiritual thing or a godly thing, right? But it is manifested, right, through faith in one another. I have to have faith in this chair that I'm sitting in, that when I sit down in it, that is not going to break, or that is going to hold me, that is going to, do what what the chair is supposed to do. And so, yeah, developing faith in one another. And I just want to say, before I, do hand it over to someone else, because, I'm a preacher. I can't Baptist preach, and you said it. I can go on and on. I have faith in each and every last one of you on the Lifeline. I do. Every single one of you. I have faith in. And I thank God that I can be vulnerable and have that faith in each and every last one of you. Just like I'm having in this chair here. That's going to hold me up when I sit down. That you all will hold me up if I have to sit down, or when I get to lean into one side or the other. All right, that's my little response. Anyone else?
Well, I've taken from that just incredibly inspirational talk. Thank you, Brother Imani. The principles of Kwanzaa really apply to all of us. It's something that we can all study and practice. There's really nothing sectarian about it in any way. These are principles that we all need to live by. And I think it's really important for us to continue to try to study and understand the principles of Kwanzaa, and really any faith that takes us into a position where we can really serve rather than just get jobs. So I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I like
Thank you,
that. I like what he said there. Right, other than just get jobs, but to serve. Yes, absolutely. That's real good. Go ahead.
Brother Imani, first of all, great. It was great, and I like how you positioned it, how it was not anti-Christmas, and that was amazing. And when you talked about serving, it just reminds me of what I've been saying, is that we have two types of gifts. We have our gifts of our provisions, which are for us, and then we have, our gifts of service, which are for others. And a lot of times I only operate in one. So, thank you for bringing that, uh, principle up of serving and serving others. So,
Reverend, you're right, man. It's, because some people think that, Kwanzaa is an opposition to Christmas. And it's not. I thank God that Robert brought that out as well. Thank you. Next, anyone else?
Let me just add before you move on is that, and you know, most of you guys are mental health or faith-based professionals and things like that. But let me just say that, you know, Black people had a hit job done on them. A hit job done on them psychologically, spiritually, economically, and the works, you know, that to find out and to explore that there was nothing good. That's how this whole situation emerged. So with the passage of the legislations, which we call the civil rights legislation, Black people realized they really didn't have any power. So there were some changes. So all of a sudden, the Black Congressional Caucus formed, the National Black Journalists Association formed. So all of these Black organizations started forming. And psychologically, I mean, when I was a little boy sitting in a Baptist church, right behind the pulpit was a picture of the Messiah. But that was a graven image. You know what I'm saying? Nobody came up with no definitive look of what the Messiah looks like, but they created one and they gave the world. So I'm sitting in church and saying, man, darn, there's nothing good about Black people. You know what I'm saying? Looking at Tarzan and all of these type of things in the textbooks in schools. You know what I'm saying? I don't see nothing positive, even in Black schools. You know, Black teachers had to slip something in during these assemblies that they had in school, these monthly assemblies, they would slip a little bit in. But it wasn't in the textbooks, and they had to teach, you know, pretty much from the textbook. Yeah, it may have been a little different in some of the urban centers, but in the rural centers, you know, not saying that people didn't do a good job, Black or white, who were my teachers, but I'm just saying they taught from the book. And what was in the book didn't tell a story. And to sit here and hear the people talk about taking down pictures of Jackie Robinson, taking down pictures of the soldiers in the Netherlands who made contribution, excluding the Tuskegee Airmen's and things, taking down all of those things because it doesn't represent the positiveness of America, so to speak. Well, we done been down that road before. So I just wanted to add that little, you know, tidbit about it. But I'm not, the rabbi helped me last week when we was talking about Christmas and just a little bit, and he talked about the winter solstice, and it was in a different light for me because he mentioned it was a dark period from a celestial standpoint. Whereas it's just the season is darkness, and darkness, a lot of mental health stuff come about. So as I try to deal with these things and keep everything in the right compartment, you know, if I'm not going to condemn the Messiah, but I say up with this Messiah and down with Santa Claus. And I don't apologize on that at all. Yeah.
Listen.
No, I'm not fit to go and make mockery of people or put folks down. I'm not going to do that. There's nothing beneficial in it, but I will kind of stick along the line of what I know to be the truth.
Well, listen, so this is a good segue. And I'm going to have you come on, Mother Lucille. This is a good segue into our mental health piece, as January is also overall mental health awareness month. So go ahead, Mother Lucille.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, you know, as African Americans, and I like to acquaint this with what happened in with at the end of slavery, as you know, in this country. Um, you know, African Americans were like kind of set adrift, cast out, and we had to make our own way, you know. And so, and the same thing kind of happened with the passing of the Civil Rights Act and when segregation was struck down in this country. And I think a part of what Dr. Karinga was doing through Kwanzaa was kind of trying to bring the African American community back together, you know, through these principles. And what I have found is that we have deserted a lot of the traditions of our ancestors, because when segregation was struck down, we could now go places that we'd never been able to go before. We could stay in places. We didn't have to ride all the way to New York as I did, practically standing up on Amtrak from Estill, South Carolina to Penn Station in New York City. We took turns, letting one person sit for a while and while the other stood. I mean, those were the conditions under which we lived. There were no hotels unless we knew places along the route where Blacks could sleep. But even then, many times you didn't have the money to be able to do that. So you wound up sleeping in cars and also had to be harassed by the local sheriff department and that sort of thing. And so we've thrown away a lot of of the traditions that have served us well. And so Kwanzaa gives us an opportunity to look back at some of those things, even down to some of the foods, that we ate. I thought about something the other day that because we didn't have refrigeration either, except periodically, particularly if you lived in the rural South. We only got ice on weekends when my dad would go to the ice house and buy a block of ice. So you would make things, take molasses and add water to it and make a sweet drink, that sort of thing. So I'm happy, for this, for the principles of Kwanzaa, and I think that many times we are living out some of these principles anyway. But Kwanzaa gives you a way to live it out more intentionally and more purposefully, because you're conscious, you're cognizant of what the principles mean. And interestingly enough, we readily accept the customs and the practices of others, you know, and but when it comes to our own thing, it becomes suspect, So it's a lot of work, a lot of teaching yet to be done. And I just wanted to add to Brother Imani's list of things that that we talked about coming back into the community is orating, and storytelling, and it all infuses confidence, within our young people, and it also at the same time giving them a sense of the greatness that they've come from. So that's all I'd like to share this morning.
Mother Lucille, Mother Lucille, in all of your regalness. Oh my goodness. I so thank God for you. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and I had no idea for all the many rivers. We just had a song by Jimmy Cliff that talked about many rivers. And I'm sitting here and I am just emotionally struck by the many rivers that you have had to cross to be here on this morning and still here. I just had no idea. I am so sorry that you had to go through that. And we talk about mental health. How are you, for you to be here in your right mind, just as articulate? But I do have to ask, how are you feeling? How are you mentally from all of that, out of all of that?
You asking me a question?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have to. I have to. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, just especially after what I just heard.
well, it's by God's grace, that
Yeah.
I am here, and I mean more than here. what I realize is that it's through, many times our adversities that, and I think Brother Reverend Christian has shared on that, that we grow and we have hope, that things are going to be better and that there is a way, you know. And the old folks used to have just so many sayings, about, being able to move forward. You may get stopped on one side, but then on the other side, a way opens up, and it's really God who makes a way for us, and He keeps on making a way,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
so you just have to have that hope. Like I may get stopped here, but and if you're patient, you wait patiently, and it comes, and at the time when it needs to come. So I just give God thanks, for bringing me, and I'm thankful for the people that He's put in my life, to help me along the way, because there's no way, I've been able to reach, the level that I have reached just on my own merits, and on my own strength, and sometimes things were being worked out. I didn't even realize it until later on, and I said, "Oh yeah, right," but it wasn't because of me.
Amen. Amen.
Dr. Ailes?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother. Come
Yeah,
on.
this is Mukasa.
Yeah, come on, brother.
Well, I wasn't sure about when I should speak, but I think I'm going to speak now. I just want to say that the African American Heritage Society this year was beautiful because we started, one of our members, her name is Brenda Joyce. We started Kwanzaa in her church. And our last day of celebrating Kwanzaa, we celebrated in her house. So our sister showed us hospitality both in her church and in her home. And this year, I think was a little extra special for me personally with Kwanzaa because Dr. Karenga said that the ideal way to celebrate Kwanzaa is in your home with your family, not the public events. The public events are good. We had one, we had two, and they were very good. But the intimacy of being with your people who know and who understand, because one of the things that Brother Imani spoke about with people misunderstanding what Kwanzaa is, it's kind of sad because the way how I understood Kwanzaa, no matter what faith tradition you belong to, Kwanzaa is like open arms. So like when I feel it's just like a natural shift to move from Christmas to Kwanzaa. I saw there's no conflict between the two, I feel if I had Muslim brothers, they could come into Kwanzaa. If I have a Jewish brother, they could come into Kwanzaa. If I had an atheist brother, they could come into Kwanzaa is open. So I just wanted to, and I listened to all of you speak, and in some ways you spoke the same language because one word, I got one big word out of everything you were saying, and all of us are from faith traditions, so we understand the importance of putting our our faith into practice, and everything we spoke about was practice. But Imani spoke about the things that the society has done in the community. That's practice. That is the practice of the principles of Kwanzaa. Christians practice things from the Ten Commandments, right? The Muslims practice the five, the Jews, everybody have, well, so we have our practices. And this year, I am pleased to belong to an organization that practice. And as I am saying this, I also want to say I'm honored to have Brother Asukili being the former president of the African American Heritage Society.
Yes.
I'm thankful for his support. He's still helping to carry it and carry us places where we never would have been without his support. So I just want to publicly thank him for his support at this time. I also want to, when you talk about practice, the lifeline. One of the principles I think about with the lifeline is the first principle of Kwanzaa, umoja, unity. That's a huge practice of
Yes.
the lifeline. And as a teacher, when I invited members of the lifeline to speak to my class, I say, I know I'm taking a risk here because these students, they don't engage. And I feel embarrassed to take these people's time and my students would not engage. Well, the opposite happened. When the imam came, when the time came, does anybody have questions? 80-something% of the class, their hands went up. I've never seen anything like it. When the rabbi came, they had a bunch of questions. So I want to use this time to thank every person from the Lifeline, the imam, the rabbi, Reverend Judith, Reverend Ailes, and Amanda for coming to my class for your presentations. And one of the things that happened this year, after the imam spoke, one of my students that was struggling with his faith, he accepted Islam.
Wow.
And he actually did his formal acceptance of Islam at the imam's mosque. We invited him and he came. So what we talk about practice. So here we were teaching religion, but these students got exposed to people who were practicing religion. Because one of the questions I asked my students, I said, one student, I said, don't let any of these pastors or this rabbi or this imam, don't let them get out of here without asking them, how do they put their faith into action? And each one had a beautiful answer. The rabbi spoke about what he does, Reverend Hills, everybody spoke about what they. So the big word I got from what everybody was saying today is practice. What we are doing is not, it's almost comparison to like sports. If you give somebody a real good lecture about some sport and teach them some really good things, show them nice videos, and then you tell them, okay, we're gonna play our first game next week. Well, they won't play very well. But if they had, if what they had seen, if they had practiced, if they went into practice, then when they played, so that's what I like about what we are doing. We are learning things and then we are practicing it. And another one of the principles, which I think we did that at my house, near purpose, the idea of engaging and that we are called to do good. We are called to do good in the world. And I am thankful to be part of an organization and to be affiliated with an institution like the Lifeline, that these things that I've learned about, that I could practice it. And I thank you for your example of showing me how to practice the things to do good. I know that I'm a better teacher because of my exposure to the Lifeline. So for those of you who come from faith traditions, thank you for how you put your faith into action. And for those of us who are also come from faith tradition, but come from cultural traditions, Brother Sukili, thank you for showing us how to put our practices, the things we've learned about the principles of Kwanzaa, how to put that into action. So I'm thankful.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. President. We're gonna have to bring you back on, man, and to bring a message, man, one of these mornings, brother.
Okay.
Thank you, brother. No, thank you for all that you do and for the unity that you bring. And where you at now? So you're a teacher now, also at the high school. Am I correct?
At the high school, and I'm still teaching at the
Oh,
college.
my good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So thank God for all that you're doing and pouring into the next generation, as well, beloved. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Miss Minette. Good morning.
Good
Happy New
morning.
Year.
Hi, Minette.
Hi,
Oh my
Good morning,
I-
Manette. Happy New Year.
good morning. I
Yes.
apologize for being late, but I was able to. I actually used my AI to generate some information because I'm not familiar with Kwanzaa. I thought it was a religious celebration, and I didn't know anything, and so I'm going to pay attention, and then possibly the next opportunity I have to participate in some of the different things, I'm going to make a point of going to look at it. There's so much of the African American culture that is so rich and beautiful, and it seems like we all have little things that we share as different, I would say, minorities. I mean, the Japanese people have their own thing. And you, by far, have suffered the greatest blows of all. And to be able to come up with such a rich and beautiful, meaningful tradition is amazing. Because the Japanese people, it seems like we kind of went into hiding. Whereas I noticed that I'm going to shut my phone off. That is not the case with your culture at all. You're trying to make things better for everybody. I'm not trying to smash being Japanese, but I'm just saying it's kind of interesting. I don't see the Japanese people being so outward and doing so many things, maybe because there's not as many of us. I don't know. But I really appreciate learning about it. And I took notes and things like that. I actually took notes from Gemini. But I thank you for welcoming me in, and I'm glad that I'm able to be here. I'm not sure when I'll be back again, but I thought, why not start off the new year this way? And thank you for being so loving. I appreciate all of it.
And could we say that you look so very beautiful on this
Good to see you.
first day of the new year? Thank you.
It is amazing. I have hair on my head. I mean, my surgeries, I was losing my hair. Everything was hysterical, but not my sense of humor. Never lost my sense of humor. God has been my sustaining force during this whole thing.
See, Miss Minette, she comes to the table with a wealth of expertise. She's also and insurance. I believe she's doing insurance now, and helping individuals with wealth and financial planning. But she's also overcame some challenges on 2025. I think you heard when she was on last week or a couple of weeks ago, on how she came through surgeries this past year. And I just thank God for her. I thank God for her son, her daughter-in-law, her whole entire family. And you were saying something about being Japanese and the Japanese culture. I would love to learn more about the Japanese culture. Come back
Well,
on.
you probably need to go on ChatGPT or Gemini or because I look Japanese, but I'm really you would say I was pretty much American. I was born in Colorado. I lived in a small town called Grenada, and I went to college in Boulder. And so I grew up being physically Japanese, but like a lot of times people will say, Manette, will you speak to the client? They're from Japan. And I would say, I go up and I go, hi, how you doing? Because I am not. Yeah, our culture literally.
Are you saying that I know more
I mean,
Japanese than you do?
yes. I can say yakamashi or bakatari, which means shut up, you're stupid. But as far as anything from the culture, because during the war, when my family was put in evacuation camps, we became fearful. My family became fearful. Anything Japanese was kind of subdued. And so consequently, I speak very little Japanese. I have very little culture, and it's a shame. And I'm going to be going to Japan, and this is terrible. I really am not interested in going to Japan, but my kids are. So that's why I'm planning for 2 years to try to save up for a trip. And so I may look Japanese, but I grew up in a predominantly white culture. I mean, there was 2 Japanese people in my graduating class. There was
Awesome.
I think we lost her.
maybe 2 African
Oh, okay.
American. Father probably was a college professor. Yeah. So sorry. You got me again? No.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah.
So my culture is mainly white. My husband is white, and so I'm missing out. But because I come here, I'm learning a lot about other people and to have respect and excitement for new things that I'm learning. I love it. And Dr. Ailes and Dr. Brother Eric, you are 2 of the sweetest professors. When I went to school at Pasco Hernando State College, you guys were so kind to me. I really appreciated that. So thank you.
So,
Thank you for teaching me.
Emery, just before we close out, I just wanted to make sure we don't lose sight of the overall mission of the Lifeline about wellness and faith. And I do want to say, in the celebration of the African American culture, family, and community via Kwanzaa, also, and maybe even more importantly, the application of it leads to mental health and wellness approach. I don't know what the strategy would be. I wouldn't know what the terminology is used in the profession, but for me and maybe millions of others, it offers that sense of wellness and hope and wholeness that is so very important for sustaining a sane life in the midst of all of this chaos and madness and foolishness that is going on, and dealing with not only war, combat, militarized post-traumatic syndrome, but also from a cultural standpoint. So this is a therapy that works for me.
Amen, amen, amen. And we're going to dig deeper into that, not only throughout this month, but this month is mental health overall mental health awareness month, but throughout the year, and putting it into practice so that we may be able to heal as a people and as a culture. Amen. Reverend, does anybody else have any response? I see Ontario Black is on. Celine, did you have any other responses? Brother Lamar, anyone that has any other responses?
Good morning.
Hey, niece.
Good.
Hi. I didn't have my internet set up yet. I am all moved in, but my internet doesn't come until Saturday. So we're fighting for our lives a little bit. So I came up to the workspace where there is internet. So I was able to hear the presentation very clearly, and I thought it was a great presentation. I think like celebrating Kwanzaa is one of the things that I look forward to every year with family. So this is my third Christmas season away from family, so my third year not celebrating Kwanzaa physically with my family, but just thinking about the perspective that Queen Mother brought forward, that I think the reason that the civil rights movement was so successful is because there was a goal and they were determined, they were in community with others, so they were able to have community and they were just strong in their mindset. And there is this hypothetical question that this discussion all the time goes on between people my age and maybe younger of like, what would you do? Oh, if we were a part of the civil rights movement, none of this would have happened. But that's just not the truth because people in my age can't even successfully boycott a store
Mm,
for a month or longer. They
mm,
could never walk. They could never walk miles for days because we're like the instant gratification. We want it now. We don't always want to do the work that it takes. So I just think that Kwanzaa really is, it's such an important holiday. It shapes you and just to know to stand with others, to define who you are, not to let others define who you are, to be creative and to leave things bigger and better than when you found it. So I just really enjoyed the presentation today and I'm glad I was able to witness it.
oh my goodness, Celine. So you said so much and we're after 10. So and I just want to ask, could we just extend it just for 2 or 3 minutes? I mean, this is New Year's Day, but you said so much there. So you're the next generation. You're the our youth. You know, you're coming. What does the implication of all of those uh, 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 um, accomplishments that we accomplished during the civil rights being threatened now? What does that mean to you all today? And I just heard you say that you all can't even come together to boycott a store. But what does that mean to you? And how could we move forward in this new year in some sort of way that we can make a difference? How could we help?
I mean, it is certainly disheartening, but you can't force anyone to believe in something they don't believe in. I think a lot of people are just, they don't care. It's like it doesn't affect me directly, so I'm not concerned about it, but what affects others does affect us directly. Anti-Blackness, misogyny, they're all one, racism, sexism, it's all one in one. And Black people are going to be the first and the hardest to suffer from it every time. So just all of these conflicts that are going on around the world, they are affecting us. Mass deportation, yes, Black people are not the target. It seems to be Mexican, Hispanic, um, Latin people, but now it's extended towards, oh, we can get anyone who might fit this bill. So it's just like, what, just because it's not directly affecting us doesn't mean it isn't directly affecting us. So I just think that just continuing to educate people and hopefully they will come to the conclusion that it should matter to us what happens to other people. And that kind of is going along with the principle of umoja, unity. Like if you want community with others, you have to be in community yourself. So my mom
Mm.
keeps calling. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
If I could add to that
But
conversation, before we wrap up, it's just
Yes.
that It's just one sentence. It takes the wisdom of the elders and young
Mm,
people's energy.
yeah.
Ah,
That
Ah,
is so true.
I like
That's
that.
brilliant.
I like that.
and
That
I
is
and I
brilliant.
and I
Yeah.
would add, Reverend Frazier said that wisdom of the elders, and in the society, we also add the wisdom of the ancestors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So look, so
That's so true.
let us close with I like that. Um Brother Mikasa, and get ready to, you want to do a libation, just remember some of the ancestors, and show those here on the Lifeline what that may be about, and we can close out with the prayer
Okay, hold on.
like that, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I didn't come up with that line, by the way.
Um,
That was a
okay, so
lyric and a song that I actually performed from John Legend and Common, and it's called Glory.
That's a
Oh,
good
from
one. That's a good one.
Selma.
And he
My
said it
dad
takes the
loves
wisdom
that
of
that's a
the elders
classic,
and
song.
young
man.
people's energy.
Yes.
That was
That's a
good.
good one.
Hey, Rontero, Sister Black,
Good morning
good morning.
to all of you.
Happy New
Oh,
Year. Habarigani.
Imani.
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 Yay.
You're on, Theodore.
Okay, so the last word we heard from Brother Imani, he spoke about Reverend Fervent spoke about the elders, and then Brother Imani spoke about the ancestors. So I want to start by saying to honor the ancestors is to honor the best of what we are and what we can become in righteous living, in service, and in social achievement. To honor the ancestors is to honor the blessed ones who have achieved immortality based on their righteous life on earth. So to commemorate the past is to commemorate the struggles and the deeds of the people, to honor the stories of their struggle, to shape the world so that it mirrored their values and served their basic and higher needs. For this reason, we are morally compelled to remember the struggles and achievement of our ancestors. And I say Ashe,
I say.
Ashe, Ashe.
Shay.
I say, and I say,
Now, we don't have a lot of time, but if we could all just think about at least one name or two of an ancestor who have passed on, this is a good time to offer them up. I would like to offer up someone who has just passed on from the national level. I would like to offer up, and each name we offer up, we will respond by saying Ashe. So I would like to start by offering up Roberta Flack.
Ashe.
say. Everybody come off mute, and everybody will have an opportunity to remember an ancestor. I say,
Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Ashe.
I say,
Rob Reiner.
I
Ashe.
say,
Jimmy
Louis
Cliff.
Black.
Ashe.
yeah,
Mario Busby.
Ashe.
I say,
Jawanza Kunjufu.
Ashe.
I
Ashe.
say,
Richard Smallwood.
oh,
Ashe.
I say,
Charles Rangel.
Ashe.
Harry T. and Harriet Moore.
Ashe.
Ashe.
L. Malik, L. Shabazz, Malcolm X.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Minute, go ahead.
Asata Shakur.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Go ahead, Minute.
I'm not exactly sure what you're doing, but
Do you have any ancestor, anybody from your family who have passed on? Maybe it's one of your parents,
Your great-grandmother,
anybody who you
your grandmother,
honor and
one of
respect
them
that who have passed on. You can offer up their name now.
Uncle Charlie Fukuda, who was with 440.
Ashe.
Ashe.
I
Salim.
want to say, as an actor,
Yes.
Chadwick Boseman.
Ashe. Salim.
Mr. Dynamite, soul brother number 1, James Brown.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Salim, you got anything?
All right, 1 second.
Offer up an ancestor, Salim. I know you got a lot. Offer up one.
Let's move on, Mookie.
Okay. We're not hearing it. We're not. Okay. Okay, so for all the ancestors whose names were not mentioned, we will still say Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Okay, so we end with our libation statement. Our fathers and mothers came here, lived, loved, struggled, and built here. At this place, their love and labor rose like the sun and gave strength and meaning to the day. For them then, who gave so much, we give in return. On this same soil, we will sow our seeds and build and move in unity and strength.
Yes.
Here too, we will continue their struggle for liberation and a higher level of human life. So may our eyes be the eagle, and we say, Ashe.
Ashe.
May our strength be the elephant, we say,
Ashe.
And may the boldness of our life be like the lion, and we say,
Ashe.
And may we remember and honor our ancestors and the legacy they left us for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow. Ashe. 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 Thank you very much.
Blessings to you all. Thank you, brother Mukasa, for that libation and tradition of libation and remembering the ancestors. Blessings to you all. Thank you for your patience. And we started off the new year with high energy. And I thank God for that. And I pray that this energy continue throughout and bless you throughout the whole, you and your whole entire families and your households throughout this whole entire year. Blessings to you all. Look forward to seeing you all next week on the Lifeline.
We got an Ashe. What Ashe means is in the chat.
Okay. Well, tell us, Sister Rontel.
It's like we're in agreement.
It's like amen.
Amen.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
I learned so much today. Thank you.
It's like you have the power to define yourself.
Ashe.
All right.